Hey, I'm Mark Loftus, and we're here at NAB 2024 in Las Vegas. I'm here at the Small HD booth with Wes Donahue. Wes, thanks for your time.
You're welcome. I'm glad to do this.
You guys have some exciting news specifically for this show. I know we've been talking a little bit about it offline, covering it in the magazine, but now I get to see it in person, the Quantum 32.
Yeah, what's behind me here is our new Quantum 32, and we call it Quantum 32 because the real interesting feature of this is the panel. This panel uses a quantum dot OLED, which is a brand new type of technology where it takes the best of what OLED offers and enhances it with these quantum dot nanoparticles. And this quantum dot stuff is actually something that won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2023. It's really, really innovative.
And this is technology that was developed through Samsung that you're one of very few manufacturers to be taking advantage of.
So Samsung basically took advantage of the nanoparticle technology and sort of took it to the next level to make these OLEDs give you more color volume and more color more luminance of color. So let me tell you a little bit about how this works.
Sure.
So a typical organic LED panel is going to work in one of two ways. It's either going to have a red, green, and blue subpixel, and that each of those subpixels are going to have organic matter that is red, green, and blue. Or in the case of the large ones like the TVs, they're going to have red, green, blue, and white. And the white channel is used to get more luminance, and then they use color filters above all that in order to bring it into an RGB subpixel. But the way this works is that the entire OLED layer of this panel is all blue. The reason it's all blue is that blue light OLED has the highest light energy. And so what they do in addition to that is they have another layer on top of that of red subpixels and green subpixels that are these quantum dot nanoparticles. So they're not a filter, they're little tiny particles, and to give you an idea of how tiny they are, they're 2 or 3 nanometers in size, and everyone's like, well, what's a nanometer? So the hair on your head is like anywhere between 80,000 and 100,000 nanometers.
It's incredibly.
So these things are really, really small. When they get that small, then they take on quantum characteristics. So what does that mean? It means that light energy that's coming from the blue OLED hits those particles, and based on their size, one is going to be a green subpixel and one's going to be red, and they're very narrow spectrum light. So what you end up with is narrow spectrum red, green, and blue, because the blue subpixel passes straight out. So why is this a cool thing? Because now you can get the OLED panel in luminance all the way out to like 1,000 nit peak. That's not full screen, but it is peak for highlights and spectrals and things like that. And then what you also get, which is really important, is that now all 3 of those subpixel channels can get brighter, and that means the colors now can have more volume. And we talk about volumetric color. That means that you have more shades of different red, green, and blue combinations, and you get much more lifelike images. So this is the first monitor that we've put out that we believe is really reference level for final grading. But we're as most people that know the Small HD brand know, we've always been focused very much on production monitors. So
I was going to ask you about the applications there.
So
you were thinking even DITs could put this
exactly.
in.
And we have this bespoke operating system, the only real monitor operating system out there, which we call Page OS. And Page OS has a lot of fantastic features that are great for on-set monitoring and DITs. And one of those features is that what you're able to do with this monitor, because it's able to go into a quad mode and display 4 different inputs, and each of those inputs can have what we're seeing on the screen now is our color pipe, and so each of those inputs can have a different color pipe assigned to them. So let's say you're coming off a camera and you've got log feed, so you can go log to SDR, log to HDR, log to SDR with a LUT, log to HDR with a LUT, and you can look at all that simultaneously at the same time. And that's a really important feature for what DIT is looking for, because they want to be able to compare the SDR and the HDR while they're shooting.
Not available just yet, but very soon.
Right, we're going to probably start shipping these late summer.
And the price is interesting compared to some of the other releases that are available for high-end
That's a good point, because this type of reference monitor is typically been in the $30,000 range, and we're able to get this thing out at a list price of $13,000. And of course, if you buy it through a reseller, you could probably get a little discount too.
Less.
So, what was really interesting about these, and especially from a post perspective, is that many facilities that invested in HDR reference monitors of this size, a lot of them put in OLEDs when they first came out, because the first monitors that were available that did HDR reference imaging were RGB OLEDs, and those then disappeared. They were no longer available, and then they went to LCDs, and the LCDs use a completely different backlight technology that's broad spectrum light passing through color filters and polarization and so forth, but it doesn't look the same to the eye as narrow spectrum RGB. So if you're a post facility and you've got a bunch of these X300 OLEDs, and you're starting to need to replace them because they're getting old and their color's fading, whatever, the only thing that you're going to be able to use that's going to really be able to match the ones that you have that still look good is going to be something like this, because you still have narrow spectrum RGB light versus broad spectrum light passing through an LCD, because the two don't look the same.
For those who want to know more about Small HD or the Quantum 32, where would you direct them?
Just go to smallhd.com, and if you have any questions, you can click on one of our links. Right now we have a link to get more information. We'll put you on a list so that when the monitor is closer to shipping, we'll give you more information about where you can get it. And of course, when we have demos out there, you can let us know that you're interested, and we can point you in a direction of somebody who has a demo for you to look at.
Great. Thanks a lot, Wes.
Thank you.